So, let's begin with, if you've ever heard somebody say this, if you choose your career wisely, you'll never have to work a day in your life. I'm here to tell you absolutely and definitively, this is crap. Of course you're going to have to work no matter what your career choice is. But what we're hoping to talk about today and to show you today is that if you choose your career wisely, you'll have job satisfaction in addition, from earning a paycheck. So some of you, maybe as you're working your way through college, this is you at work because you're just working to pay your bills. You're working until you can graduate and achieve that career that you're hoping to make. What we all hope to do is avoid you making a career choice that's going to result in you hating your career. I suspect, as we go through this, that some of the things that I talk about, you might be saying to yourself, oh, that's me. What I've done for your career planning is come up with 3 easy steps for how you can achieve this job satisfaction or this career satisfaction. And the first is to begin to identify what is your passion. I'm going down on a limb here, but I'm guessing that most of you who are here are interested in the careers in the criminal justice system and exploring what those careers are. Now, some of you might know somebody who's working in the criminal justice system, a person who you admire, a person who you'd like to emulate, a person who has mentored you, and you would like to do what they do. For others of you, it may be a little bit more personal than that. Maybe there's been something in your life that you've experienced, violence, for example. Maybe a loved one, friends, family members have experienced violence, and that really affected you to the point where you decided, how can I be part of the solution to prevent things like this from happening? Others of you maybe watch television and you see cases like this. A little girl who's abducted and for 18 years she's held captive as basically a sex slave. She's forced to give birth to her rapist children, and 18 years later, thanks to some very observant and good campus police officers, finally she is freed from her captivity. Unfortunately, others of you watch too much television, and you watch shows like this, and this is what has made you decide, I want to work for the criminal justice system, which is fine, because whatever it takes, however you find your passion, we can work with that. Others of you have seen on television images like this, and it moved you to a point where you decided to dedicate yourself to try to prevent religious and political fanatics from doing acts of mass murder like this. Whatever your passion, the key to being successful in your career choice is to remember that passion and hold on to it, because that's what's going to keep you moving forward and help you be successful. The late Winston Churchill once said, never, never, never give up. So the part of dedicating yourself, it's going to be a long journey. There's going to be roadblocks that are put up in your way. Chances are the very first job that you apply for, you're not going to get it. But don't give up. The only sure way to failure is if you give up. So as long as you keep moving forward, eventually you probably will achieve your goals. So the last part of the easy steps is educating yourself. The first part of educating yourself, we're going to look at some of the multitude of career opportunities that are available to you. And so I'm going to briefly go through the criminal justice process from the beginning. And the beginning is a crime is detected or a crime is reported. So dispatchers and the folks who pick up your 911 calls, those are great career opportunities for people who are interested in that. And then, of course, it's the dispatcher who's responsible for sending the law enforcement response. There are a multitude of different law enforcement officer positions available. It's the state level, the federal level, and the local level, and county level, of course, as well. And then during this response and investigation, you may have the need for forensic applications. Within the field of forensics, there are literally dozens, hundreds of different specialties that you can look at. Everything from fingerprints to artists to DNA, dental records, tire impressions, biology, just to name a few. And we'll look at some in a department in a moment. But also during the investigation, you may need to have the assistance of the coroner's office So the coroner's office, think of all the people who work in the coroner's office who are responsible for dealing with the collection of dead bodies, the analysis of dead bodies, and then later the disposal, storage and disposal of dead bodies. Hopefully, your investigation will result in an arrest. There are a lot of people who are involved in the arresting process, not just obviously the officer, but there are property and evidence custodians, usually at every police station. There are jailers, clerks and records keepers. You might need crime analysts to help you figure out what your crime patterns are and so forth. Probation and parole might be called in if the person you've arrested is on probation or parole. When you get up to the court level, there's a lot of different opportunities, and think of all the people who are employed in the court systems. There are job opportunities from clerks all the way up, of course, to the judges and the attorneys. And then lastly, if the person is convicted, you go back to the correctional system, local jails, state prisons, federal prisons, community service, parole officers, probation officers. Again, think of all the different job opportunities for those departments. And that's not even touching on the juvenile system, which is a completely different animal altogether. So, another way to educate yourself, and it's something that I encourage everybody to do, is target a few different agencies that you're interested in taking a look at. So I'm going to choose LAPD because they're not here today. They actually were invited, but they found out the LA County Sheriff's Department was coming and they decided not to come. So still a little rivalry going on there. But let's take a look at how simple it is with LAPD. Click on their website. And once you get through all the bells and whistles, there's a tab here that says Join the Team. And when you click on Join the Team, they have it set up so that if you're interested in being a sworn officer, they have a separate, really great, by the way, website for specifically a sworn officer. But they also have how do you become an LAPD civilian officer. And so when you click on civilian employment opportunities, it first of all tells you that they employ over 3,500 civilian employees in different capacities. And then they talk about over 150 civilian job classifications within the LAPD. And you click on that list, and you can see everything from secretaries, clerks, accounting people, fingerprint technicians, a lot of forensics jobs, hearing reporters, photographers, supervisors, again with the forensic specialists. And so all of these job opportunities, civilian position, you don't have to worry about going through a police academy if that's not your cup of tea. And then you can just go to their personnel department and see how to apply. Okay, so educate yourself about the different job opportunities that are available to you. But then I wouldn't be a professor if I didn't give a plug to how about just educating you personally and all the different ways that that can help, not just enrich you as an individual, but also how it can help you with your paycheck. So, according to this graph, the very last line right here are the estimated median weekly earnings of a person who does not finish high school. So weekly earnings, and it goes up to 2005. The second line is if you have a high school diploma, your earnings will go up a little bit. But then that third line, that's the difference between an associate's degree and a high school diploma, which looks pretty good. But for those of you who look beyond an associate's degree, you almost double your income if you get a bachelor's degree or higher. So I don't think there are many people who are opposed to earning a bigger paycheck, and this is what an education can do for you over the course of your lifetime. And then when you look at places like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they break down by category what the job opening projections are. And in this case, this was from 2008 to 2018. So a 10-year span, what can these occupations do as far as salary and also openings, projected openings. So some of the criminal justice jobs that I picked out for these slides start down with dispatchers, social science research assistants. I know there's a lot of criminology students in here who are specifically interested in the psychology and sociology of understanding why people commit crimes. law clerks, legal secretaries, probation officers, game wardens, court reporters. And then this column shows the percentage, the increase percentage of these jobs in the next 10 years. And most of them are double-digit increases. So the job opportunities are available to you if you hang in there. And then this H column, and be careful when you look at the median wages, because depending on what jurisdiction you go to, these will be higher. California, historically, is one of the best paying states for law enforcement. The bigger the city, the more money. But the H here means that all of these jobs, the median wage is above the median for all workers. So it's high earning potential above the median. And then this last column I want you to look at is the degrees. There are some jobs, of course, that it's just on-the-job training and you don't need a degree to do it. But as you go up the ladder here, associates, bachelors, associates, post-secondary, vocational award for court reporters. And then the last one that I have for you are other types of positions. Those of you interested in forensics, forensic science technician, the actual police, sheriff, patrol officers, sociologists and social scientists, again for you criminology majors, laws, judges, lawyers. Don't know why we're going to need fewer judges, but according to that, not a lot of openings. But good news for you criminology majors, in the 20% increase over the next 10 years projected needing employees. Forensic science technicians, almost a 20% increase over the next 20 years. And then this is also where you find the very high, meaning people who have careers in these fields, the median wage is higher than that earned by 70% of all people working out there, so that's pretty good. But then that's where your degree comes in. Bachelor's, long-term, on-the-job training. We'll talk about police officers in a moment. Master's degrees or higher in the case of lawyers, JDs, and so forth. I have heard some people mockingly refer to the fact that it only takes a high school diploma to be a police officer. And the fact of the matter is that's true for a lot of agencies. But you have to dig a little bit deeper to find the true story behind it only takes a high school diploma. Again, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, when you look at officers between the ages of 25 and 44 years of age, 20% only have a high school diploma. 50% have some college or an associate's degree, and another 30% have a bachelor's degree or higher. So keep in mind, those of you who are interested in law enforcement, yes, technically they may only require a high school diploma, but 80% of the people you're going to be working with have at least some college or a bachelor's degree or higher. So if you want to stay competitive, you need to get your degree, even for jobs that don't necessarily require it. And then the last plug for you is, as most of you know, the School of Justice Studies has tailor-made 3 degree and certificate programs depending on what your interest is. If you're interested in law enforcement, and I've got flyers up here, if you want to pick one up, we've got a special degree for you. If you're interested in the legal aspects, we've got a separate degree. And then the criminologists who want to understand why, we've got a separate degree for that as well. So I'm going to turn it over now to Dr. Mahoney.